So after I was done with there, ended up heading over to another game store called Game Shack. A little bit smaller. It's in one of the malls inside there, and it's a mall store. Like, it's limited space, and their prices are a little bit on the high side. They don't have the best selections, but it seems to me that it's one of those places that they'll get stuff in, and you just got to get lucky that they have it. They have retro to old to new, like everything like that. Didn't really find anything retro that I was looking for, but I did find one of the last Xbox 360 games that I'm looking for. I try to keep a very limited amount of games per system, and I'm trying to stay within my confines of what I have laid out for space right now, just so it's not taking over and I still own it and it doesn't own me. I've wanted to play this for a long time, and I finally found it, and I could have got it when I was on my trip to Grand Forks a couple months ago, but it came down to a choice between this and Shatterhand, and then, as you know, I ended up getting Shatterhand for an outstanding price. But I finally have it now. Got a decent deal on it. I wouldn't say it's amazing deal. It's probably what it's worth, but Ashura's Wrath for the Xbox 360. It's kind of like God of War, but it's so ridiculously over the top, and that's saying that on top of God of War, which is already ridiculous. It's like super anime influenced button sequences, just like God of War and everything, but it's ridiculous how over the top it is. Like, you're blowing up. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z ridiculous for power levels. I played it already for a little bit, and it's like super fun. I'm hoping to actually stream it for a bit for the charity event, and that would be super good. After I was done with that one, a day later or something, I started going to the other game stores. Stopped by Iceman Games in Kensington Market. Nice little tucked away store. It's basically kind of like the Forks, like a bunch of little shops all around, and there's like swarms of people going through the streets, and it's right like in Chinatown kind of thing. And they have some really good stock there. I was quite surprised, and super friendly staff, very helpful. That's one other thing I really noticed too. In Toronto, there's a lot of goodwill in between competitors. With every game store that I went to, they all referred me to other game stores, and when I asked for something that they didn't have, rather than, just trying to take the business for themselves, they're really looking out for the customer. And that's great to see, I was very happy with every experience I had in every game store, pretty much. But from Iceman Games, for a really decent price, except I didn't get the mic for it. Not that it really matters anymore because the server's down. I got Alien Front for the Dreamcast. It's kind of like a tank shooter, basically. A tank versus shooter. Humans versus aliens kind of thing. Tanks versus, alien craft. Played it tons back in the day. It did originally come with a mic. It was one of the few games that actually supported the Dreamcast mic, and it was crazy back in 2000, playing and being able to talk to other gamers on a system. It just blew my mind. I didn't even realize that when I first started playing it, when I caught it, I thought it was just the computer talking or something, because I didn't actually comprehend enough that it was actual physical people at first. It's a good game. It's got a really awesome soundtrack, and yeah, pick it up if you ever find it for cheap. Now, on the way back from there, I stopped by. I can't call it anything else other than a hole in the wall. It's Last Gen Games. It's It's basically like the smallest game store I've ever seen in my life. It's maybe 8 feet by 8 feet. It's like a small room, and there's this nice guy standing behind his little kiosk inside like a bedroom almost, and he's got everything around in the room all lined up on the walls, and it comes right off the street up a bunch of stairs, like it goes right into an apartment or something. But friendliest guy like you'll ever meet. Like, he looks like that he would just bend over backwards for you. I wasn't actually going to buy anything at first. I was just in there to look at something because there was someone else there. It's like standing room only. Like, you know, only 1 or 2 customers at a time could fit in there. You know, and if not for everything else, I would have just walked out. But it was very charming. I was compelled to stay there and actually chat with the guy. And we chatted for like a good half an hour or something. You know, he actually had tapes and stuff too, but I was kind of running short on time. So I ended up just picking up a couple things, which he cut me a good deal on. I got these for like $20 total, and I've been looking for them for a while. This pretty much almost completes my Game Gear collection that I'm looking for right now. And that's Streets of Rage 2 for the Game Gear. Great game. And Mega Man Zero 2 for the Game Boy Advance. Now this is the first one that I have for this series, and I'm wanting to get 1, 3, and 4 now. I never played this back in the day. I was kind of turned off because it's a little bit of different style, but it's kind of grown on me. Like, I've played a couple emulators about it and heard a few things about it, and it seems like it's a really fun game, and I'm anxiously awaiting to get the other ones. And luckily they're not like crazy expensive. I think they're all around in between $10 and $20 a piece, so it's not going to break the bank. So the last game store, like just video game store that I went to, called Game Center. It's another little mall outlet. This one's a little bit bigger, and I have to say, despite loving A&C Games absolutely to death, you know, amazing staff and crazy broad selection, I think this one has the best prices in the city that I've seen. Where everyone else is kind of hovering in that price charting, bidding, eBay, you know, kind of price range, this place stays at that level and cuts deals even below that. Like buy one get one free, and you know, miscellaneous little deals. So first thing I grabbed when I was there, I actually went there twice. The reason why I went twice is I went once and I picked up a few things, and I noticed this other game store that was on the way there that was closed, and unfortunately when I went back it was still closed, so I think it went out of business or something. I don't even remember the name, but I got this buy one get one free. Been looking for this. It's pretty much after I add this to the collection, it's only one more game for the original Xbox that I want, and then I'm done with the system. There's a lot of crap for the Xbox, in my opinion. There's only about 20-30 like quality games for it that are worth keeping, at least I think so. And that game is Star Wars Republic Commando. Super fun game. There's a plethora of Star Wars games for the Xbox, and only about half of them are good, like Battlefront and, you know, Knights of the Old Republic and Outcast. And this one's pretty solid. It's just kind of like Outcast first-person shooter, but you got a squad to actually control and, you know, manipulate. So it's gonna have a little bit of a Mass Effect feel to it. So for like squad usage, which is really nice, and of course, you know, can't go wrong with Star Wars. Now the game I got free with it, I can't really complain too much, but I'll tell you about that after, is Champions of Norath for the PS2. Very excited to actually try this. It's complete, and you know, the disc looks in great shape. Unfortunately, when I tried it, when I was doing like testing all these games out today, I can't get it to run properly. Now, I don't think it's the disc. I did some checking on it, and it's a double layered disc, and it has a tendency to be very picky. So I don't know if it's the game or my PS2. So I might have to take it over to somebody's house and test it out and see if it's the PS2 or if it's this. If it's this, I'll go get it resurfaced just to see. But I got it for free, so I can't complain too much. But I would really like to play it. It's the same engine as Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, I think. So then I love that game, so can't go wrong, right? So when the other thing I picked up from there, I've been wanting this for a while, and I paid, I guess I paid what it's worth. And it was one of the last things I picked up while I was out there. I actually picked up this last, but the next thing I'm showing last anyways is Resident Evil 2 for the GameCube. It's a direct port from the PlayStation 1 version. Unlike the other Resident Evils like 0 and Resident Evil 1, which were actually remakes on the GameCube, this one's a direct port, no graphic improvements, no real anything, but it was one of my favorite PlayStation 1 games, and I'm really looking to get the complete GameCube set for it. Look nice all in a row and everything. You do some custom spines, that'd be pretty sweet. So the last thing I got from my trip to Toronto, oh no, not my last thing, sorry. The last thing I got from Game Center anyways, I got this for $14, and I've always kind of wanted it, but I don't have the system for it, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna get one probably around the holidays or something, because I'm very kind of a stickler for it, and I want the backwards compatible version so I can get rid of my PS2. I don't want just a PS3, so yeah, of course it's a PS3. And gotta get it for the right price too. Some people charge like $300 for a backwards compatible PS3, and that's ridiculous. I would never pay that. I'd probably top out in the $150 range, around there. And I figure if I spend that, and in a year from now I get YLOD on it, I can shell out the extra $80 and get it fixed up or something proper. But I got this collector's edition, Killzone 3. This thing looks awesome. I saw it sitting behind the counter, and I knew I absolutely had to have it. It was like $14, and it's just this awesome freaking Killzone helmet. Like all the piping and stuff comes out. It's really high quality, and the head actually comes off like that, and then inside you have the game, Killzone 3, and a little art book. Yeah, I would have paid the $14 just for the head, let alone the game. And I'm actually quite the fan of the Killzone series. I like the PS2 version and the Vita version very much, near and dear to my heart. So when I get a PS3, hopefully I will get one. I'm very excited to play Killzone 3, and probably I'll end up picking up 2 as well. The last thing I got, now the final last thing I got in Toronto, is not a video game. I picked it up at 401 Games, which is like a board game kind of, board game, card game kind of place. I picked this up specifically because it definitely has some 8-bit, 16-bit video game roots to it. And that's Pixel Tactics 3. The box is even shaped like a NES cart. So I haven't played it yet. It looked like it took a little bit more in depth than I had inside my hotel. I need like an actual table to actually look at it, but it appears to be like a tactical card game that is totally composed in this, so it's not like Magic the Gathering or anything where I'm gonna have to shell out tons of money and buy boosters and everything. Like, I can play just with this apparently, with 2 players. So I'm gonna give this a try maybe the next couple of days, and I'm hoping that it's good. But I didn't pay much for it. I think after tax it was like $14. All in all, great trip to Toronto. I am so happy to have gone there. I couldn't afford to live there. The cost of living is very high. But I think I want to go again. Definitely want to go visit again in the next few years, and maybe check out some of the other game stores in some of the other districts of Toronto, because I only went to the core. There's like at least another 10 or 12 in the surrounding areas of Toronto that I wanted to go to, but it just wasn't possible. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.